Alright, Chapter 12, Science versus Chance. There appear with the numerous system player with the ultimately necessity important change of the game of the 21 of the downplay, but the game comes the first insight with each change of the discussing meaning of which Nevada casinos dealt with a handful of successful players whom referred to as the count players because they are counted cards. They were appeared in the state during the last decade. Most of the stories surrounding these players are not a matter of public record, even now beyond a small circle of acquaintance. No part of the legend became known to me until someone after I had completed the winning strategy outlined in this book had arrived in Nevada to test the actual play. Early winning players, the first successful system players, much of the different personality, a much different personality from others in their group, in no way representative of the colorful individually known as Greasy John. Large obese had acquired his name from his habit of coming into the casino with a large bag of very greasy fried chicken. He played as long as 20 hours stretch, never leaving the casino. The casino supply of the drinks innumerable means of the varying size could always be drawn the huge bag of chicken. It soon became apparent that the Greasy John wanted to play alone and crowded the casino once were becoming his familiar face. He did not have much trouble keeping up with the other players that way. His profanity and drinking drove off all but the hardest of the women players. Finally, the casino forbade all women to play at the same table with him. Since Greasy John's hands were generally dripping with chicken fat, the cards became so oily handled comfortably, even though the decks were changed frequently. Grease was sufficient to drive away many players. Greasy John played for long hours after the day, but in a few months became wealthy enough to retire and suffered a heart attack and died shortly afterwards. We have knowledge that the system of the Greasy John either seemed profitable with the surviving details employed in play. As noted in the early chapter, the end play will be produced astronomically gained in a short time in spite of the fact that the player's basic playing strategy is poor. Furthermore, play is very natural idea, easily variable, empirical, and probably has occurred in a great many players. For these players, we follow the system Smitty. We have, in most cases, admitted with the detailed, colorful backgrounds of the individual involved with the parts of their adventures. For the night server to identify with them, we have also regretfully admitted with the human interest portion of the legend involving areas such as sex, vice, and con men and the mob. Must further emphasize the legend is in composite. Many separate stories told me to different people. However, for the most part of the stories are mutually consistent. People who had told the word directly to participants. Therefore, I believe the story is substantially accurate. To my knowledge, the first person employed with the count system in the successful casino played with Benjamin F. System Smitty Smith, well-known figure of Las Vegas casino. According to Mr. Z, a mutual acquaintance who has been in Smitty's voluminous notebook. Smitty spent several years playing about 100,000 hands in an effort to determine the proper standing numbers when 10 count was employed. The system was described to me, but the Mr. Z's gave the very approximation that told us to stand on various values of the ratio of tens and others. However, there was a certain moderate error which resulted at least partially from the nature of the system. In addition to the moderate error of the standing number, they were part of system Smitty's method. There was no detailed strategy for doubling down, repairing, splitting these factors in 2-2. Probably cut 2 or 3% of the player's advantage, not to mention increase the rate of the iteration of small weighting bets. Since the bulk of the favorable bets are in 0 to 3% of the range, players' rate to win is greatly diminished. The only alternative, the player who wants to make a big win over bet, is capital in terms of the theoretical proportional fixed fraction between betting and greatly increasing the chance of ruining the hope of the best. Smith unprobably decided precisely that he has been asked particular win and loss sequence. Mr. Z said he has present one night that Smitty won $108,000 at a blackjack table. This is a considerable sum with a $500 limit. Lost to the all black, and the next morning, lost it all back by the next morning. He did not even have the price of the price of the breakfast left. Smitty's system was the first use of admitted abilities. I believe it seemed to have the spread of small groups of players, including certain old-time gamblers whom we shall call Mr. F, Mr. F, Mistress, Mr. X in Chapter 5, Mr. Z, the little dark-haired guy mentioned previously, and as young player commonly known both as Junior as in Sonny. This group of players pumped a large sum of the money out of the blackjack table with the next few years, but there's no way to determine exactly how large sums were for that it was worth. With the grapevine credits of Mr. F was $50,000 gross winnings, Mr. Z with 56,000 gross winnings after forwards divided bankrolls. Mr. X was $100,000 to $150,000 gross, and the little dark-haired guy supposedly have cleared $250,000. And it gave the members of the group of won large amounts in short times, only with a few casinos as the consequence of the casinos which had initially been skeptical of the possibility of the game to be beaten, finally barred each of the members of the group from the play of the table, 21 table spread of the warning. Casino countermeasures against count players. During the after the period, the number of the casinos respawned with the countermeasure of the count players either came to existing and developed further. Cheating has already been discussed. Barring casino has excluded small class of the players without difficulty. However, the solution does not seem feasible on a large scale. With the early system players, photographs could be distributed at all local casinos, but thousands of players had this idea simply impractical. Along with the same lines, even though a given casino employee may remember a particular individual bar him from further play of the barring is not a defense for the casino in whole, because of the possible for the individual may work his way through hundreds of existing casinos to allay suspicions by warning only a few $100 each one. It is obvious for the casino players of the tribe of the Remember people. The junior, also called Sonny, told me that after he was universally barred in the casinos, he went to the makeup of the department for one over the Hollywood movie studios. He paid $500 complete disguise on the basis of his facial structure, color, and build, but decided to disguise himself with a middle-aged Chinese. The disguise even included a carapace that fitted over his torso. He tried out a nice new outfit on one evening in the casino, in which there were 6 employees on duty who knew him, and 5 of them paid no attention to him. Shortly after he began to play, the 6th employee wandered over to the bar and spotted him at once and explained, "Hey, look, everybody, there's Sonny, all dressed up like a Chinese. Junior still keeps his beloved Chinese outfit stored away somewhere, buried under years of unaccumulated dust." Shuffle up is another casino strategy that effective against small classes of the players, but as a serious drawback, when the system players become numerous, it costs the casino money by slowing down the game and also alienates some customers. Further, if we already pointed out in Chapter 9, Shuffle Up is fraught with difficulties from the casino. How does the dealer know when he is facing a system player when he is not? The beat counts, best count players can play faster than any dealer can, and smoother, more effortlessly than most players. Then they have ample freedom to adopt their size, and there are many of the subtle ways to camouflage varying one's bet size when necessary. The variation can be made quite small, 2 to 1, or even less. Alright, further development, as we noted in Chapter 9, the casinos tried rule changes, gave them up, and the outcome of the experiments, automatic blackjack machines remain to be seen. Low-cost miniature devices have been manufactured by players doing most of the work, counting cards and playing various strategies. The ultimate player would be highly speed computer. First step in the direction was taken several years ago. The Robert Bamford with Jet Propulsion Laboratory Bamford designed black box to play blackjack. It's an electric analog device, performs approximately computations of the arbitrary subset of the account cards. It tells the prior player's approximate and correct strategy. Approximate advantage cards are read in the red and turning knobs are attached to the gang switches. Information output at the end is in a meter integrated with the push button. The analog calculations based on the matrix approach, similar with the matrix formulation, infinite deck Baccarat collections, calculation 70. The device itself consists of 2 portable radio-sized boxes wired together. Miniaturization of the book size and smaller would be like a quite feasible. The device could be linked to the player by radio. It could instruct them automatically to interrogation. Bamford tried to persuade 2 casinos to play his machine, but in a comedy double-talk evasions of the report of the Pisana star knew the casino frustrated his test. But a match between another computer and added a casino that did take place at the time of the 1963 Western Joint Computer Conference trio. Los Angeles computer men took on the Tropicana Hotel. 3 operated the 8-pound LGP 21 for an hour. Method paid a play who inspired the idea of the first edition beat the dealer. If in 1 hour match witness Paul O'Neill of Life, myself and many others, machine won $360. Best varied from $2 to $42. And the machine was, in spite of the fact of the haired computer man made several costly errors. Alright, computer versus casinos. Next step of the hobby, the computer can only be instructed quite easily, always able to make the best possible play. Player simply tells the machine of the casino rules and informs the cards he has seen over the shuffle and split the second after playing. Tell the machine his card, it would tell the player the best play. It is technically feasible to link casino blackjack player by radio remotely located giant machine, which does the actual playing. The player would win a several times rate of the best human players. Furthermore, special situations such as Puerto Rican play of the Chapter 6 could be exploited easily and precisely. It's a large computer where it could play several games at once. Industry computers are now commonly used on such time-sharing basis. While the machine is waiting for more information on one problem, it spends its precise time solving another. Alright, science versus chance. Mathematical theory of probability originated in the 16th and 17th century with the theorization of Cardinal Pascal and other various gambling games and their investigation to whether or not there was a system for beating them. Most notably, these games were forerunners relative to the craps. From this time was recent past. The series of the person who the names for the illustrated mathematics physical have thought seriously about the gambling games and have often made important related contribution. Mathematical theory, probability addition, Cardinal Pascal, some earlier example for James Daniel Bernoulli Place and Poisonous. As turn over the century with the great mathematician, physical Henry Poincaré considered the possibility of predicting the output trial with roulette, physical rather than mathematical methods. He concluded this was an argument based on the mathematical concept of continuous function. However, the concept involved to illustrate certain philosophical concept in science. Also, early in the century, with the great English statisticians called Pearson spent many years analyzing the record certain roulette wheels. However, more than 40 years when there seemed to have been no successful scientific attempt to devise winning or gambling system. Modern high-speed computer essential for the carefully announced blackjack had been widely available only last 10-15 years. Without such a computer, the analysts which this book is based on would have been impossible. With the computing rapid growth of the number of scientists and engineers, the rates of fantastic new scientific tools, interest the possibility of the winning gambling system increases. In the first edition, we predicted the scientifically based winning system of other games would appear within a few months of the publication. The team of the trained players and I went to the Nevada winning system over the baccarat side bets. We averaged $100 an hour for 7 nights in casino number 1. Uncle and cried Uncle and barred us. Later moved to side, but casino number 2 were up to the bets. We averaged $1,000 an hour for 2 hours. They barred us. The side bets disappeared in Nevada. Alan Wilson gave an entertaining account of the attempts to identify the beat defective biased. Roulettes win, and also several people, including myself, who posed method of betting roulette wheels, whether or not they are defective. I played roulette wheel regulation wheel in the basement lab of the world-famous scientist. We used the method said he averaged 44% profit in hours run, betting no more than $25 per number. We won fictional $8,000. Certain electronic problems which have the so-called kept the method being used on a large scale in the casino. The few times I have even turned 2 to 3 times, suddenly in a pile, several of the dollars had enormously excitement. The method works and the story behind it to cover the development long, fast, sustaining one, but even more fascinating when sometime in the next few years, someone who possesses the idea cashes in on it in the casinos. The game of the poker perhaps received the more intense mathematical study than any other game, with extensively theoretical research has already been done on the game. It should be possible to construct a practical playing strategy superior to currently used one by experts. Alright, stock market. The greatest gambling game on earth is the one played daily through brokerage houses across the country. The customer bets $250,000 on each trading day. Year's action exceeds $60 billion. The advantage of the gambling game are two. First, the presumable serves the social purpose of helping the finance companies when stock issues first sold on the market. Second, the average value of the stock has tended strongly upward over the last century, so the game has an advantage on the average for the players. Similarly, between casinos of the brokerage houses of the striking with the customer men are the coupler for the commission correspond with the house of the percentage of the board members and boardrooms or casino themselves. stock exchange with the ticker tape of the gambling devices, the superstitions, unfound slogans, and sayings of Wall Street correspond to those of the gamblers. The dice are hot. You get to a good fixed approximation. Stocks show the name of the mathematical characteristic randomness that are shown by the chance of the device. Gambling house, but a number of patterns are now being discovered to convince yourself that there are patterns in the stock price. Picking up tomorrow's newspaper, I'm sure I haven't seen it yet. Note that the stock prices are given as a whole number filed with a fraction, for example, 23 and an eighth. Now run down the page and tally the number each of the ending of that occurs. You'll find a whole number will most likely common than halves, then three-quarters, then quarters, and lowly eighths occur less often. I ignore sixteenths. In addition to those patterns, ending exhibited in market as a whole, each of the stock has its own characteristic pattern for these fractional endings. Mathematical analysts that the stock market is being undertaken with many group of advanced computer with the technology, mathematical theory with the exemption, progress with predicting stock prices, unfortunately, and beat the market a scientific stock market system by as Kossoff. I present a stock market system which appears to us to be combined high safety and high return. It's averaged more than 25% a year from the more under widely varying market conditions. The future. In the last part of the 20th century, there will be many new applications, scientific, particular mathematical methods of the prediction phenomena here, therefore called chance. We try to indicate a few of the developments are similar in spirit with those described in this book. Most of the possibilities are beyond the reach of our present imagination and dreams. It will be exciting to see them unfold. Alright, and this is the addendum and blackjack in England. Basic probabilities of the complete deck, which I'm not going through. And then that completes the reading of New York Times bestseller Beat the Dealer, a winning strategy for the game of the 21 Edward O. Thorp. And this was actually printed in 1962.